Good day, sir. Good day, everyone. My name is Roslyn Empale, and as for today, I am going to report about the Sanitation Code of the Philippines. Presidential Decree Number 856, Section 1, title. The title of this code is Code on Sanitation of the Philippines. It was vested and signed by President Ferdinand E. Marcos last December 23, 1975. Section 2 of this presidential decree is the definition of terms that whenever any of the following words or terms is issued herein or in any rule or regulation issued under this code, it shall have the meaning given in this section as follows. Code on Sanitation of the Philippines. Department, the Department of Health. Secretary, the Secretary of Health. Regional Director, an official who heads a regional health office. Local Health Authority, an official or employee responsible for the application of a prescribed health measure in a local political subdivision. Health Officer Provincial, City or Municipal Health Officer. Engineer, a sanitary engineer. Section, any section of this code unless the term refers to the other statutes which are specifically mentioned. Section 3 of Presidential Decree 856, functions of the Department of Health is that the department shall have the following powers and functions. First is undertake the promotion and preservation of the health of the people and raise the health standards of individuals and communities throughout the Philippines. Next, extend maximum health services to the people in rural areas and provide medical care to those who cannot afford it by reason of poverty. C. Develop, administer, and coordinate various health activities and services which shall include public health, preventive, curative, and rehabilitative programs, medical care, health and medical education services. D. Upgrade the standards of medical practice, the quality of health services, and programs to assure the people of better health services. E. Assist local health agencies in developing public health programs, including medical care, and promote medical and public health research. F. Issue permits to establish and operate government and private hospitals, clinics, dispensaries, schools of nursing, midwifery, and other paramedical courses, puriculture centers, clinical laboratories, and blood banks. Second to the last is prescribe standard rates of fees for health, medical, laboratory, and other public health services, and perform such other functions as may be provided by law. As for the objective of this code, which is the Presidential Decree 856, also known as the Code on Sanitation of the Philippines, is the improvement of the way of the Filipinos by directing public health services towards the protection and promotion of the health of the people. Relating to the laws and regulatories of restaurants and other tourism enterprises is the Chapter 3, which talks about the food establishment. Section 14 says that no person or entity shall operate a food establishment for public patronage without securing a permit from the local health office. Section 14 is all about sanitary permit. Before to operate food establishment, owners should secure and provide their sanitary permit given by the local health authorities or office. Another is the Section 15 that no person shall be employed in any food establishment without the health certificate issued by the local health authority. This entails that the importance of every employees or staff in the establishment to have their health certificates. Thus, this certificate shall be issued by only after the required physical and medical examinations are performed and immunizations are administered at prescribed intervals. Section 30, which is the food servicing operations. These operations should be in accordance with the following requirements. Since when we say food servicing operations, it talks about the things that we must not do inside the restaurant to ensure that there will be no food contaminations and harming our guests. First, the following requirements are: hand contacts with food or drink shall be avoided. Fingers shall not be used to serve butter, ice, or similar items of food because there are intended materials and equipments that must be properly used. Sugar shall be served in covered dispensers or containers or in packages wrapped for single service because there are times their customers do not like to have insects or pests in their foods. Another requirement: the surfaces of containers and utensils, including glasses and tablewares, which come in contact with food and drink shall not be handled. When holding a glass, it should not be picked and carry at the surface. It should be always at the bottom because the surface will be the specific area where the guest will drink from it. So it should be clean as possible to avoid food contaminations and secure the health and safety and sanitation of the guest. Another is disposable cups, plates, spoons, and other single-service containers and utensils shall be purchased in sanitary cartons and stored in a clean, dry place until used. These articles shall be so handled on removal from the carton that the hand does not touch the surface which will be in contact with food or drink. So it should be properly sealed that the hand or it will not be held by any employees, and it should be served in a proper and covered piece. Another requirement in food servicing operation is that clean cloths, napkins, spoon, towels, and other cloth equipment shall be stored in clean places designated specifically for them. Soiled linens, including towels, aprons, and coat, shall be stored in a closed bin or lockers suitably marked. So, the clean and dirty linens shall be separated because one possible way the clean could be get dirty. Just for example, the bad odor coming from the dirty linens will be transferred into the clean linen. So that is not sanitary. That would affect the clean linen. So it should be separated, the clean and the dirty. Letter E of the following requirements is that spoons, spatulas, dippers, and scoops used intermittently for dispensing frozen dessert shall be kept in running water and in water maintained at 170 Fahrenheit or 77 Celsius and frequently changed, or they may be washed and stored in a dry place after each use. So they should be sterilized, such as the spoons, spatulas, dippers, and scoops. They should be always sterilized to prevent the bacteria from growing. So that will be the food servicing operations requirements. Section 30, the Presidential Decree 856 has its special provisions, and these are groceries or sari-sari stores. It says that no grocery or sari-sari store shall be established within a distance of 25 meters from any source of contamination. So it should be always 25 meters away from any source of contamination. Example, from the landfill where waste management are being held, so it should be 25 meters away, because there are tendency the flies will transfer to the establishment and that will cause health issues. Another is all foods which require no further cooking before they are eaten shall be protected from contamination while in countries or showcases. Another is the bakeries. So in bakeries, delivery trucks and carts of bakery products shall always be kept clean and sanitary. So they should, since they are into food, that should be properly handled, and because that would lead to health issues or food contamination. So it should be sealed as much as possible. Dairies. No dairy shall keep unhealthy or ineffective cows, carabaos, or goat for the production of milk, or feed them unwholesome food which produces impure, unwholesome milk. So from the source itself, it should be maintained and should not be produced with an effective or unhealthy cows. Now there is no animals used for the production of milk shall be allowed to graze on land which has been contaminated by radioactivity. So make sure that the farm itself, the animals from the farm should be healthy to produce it neatly and accordingly as it will be distributed in the market, so no customers or consumer will get a problem regarding to health. No dairy shall sell unwholesome milk that has not been previously pasteurized or otherwise sterilized. So it should be pasteurized or sterilized. So that are for dairies. Another is for ice plants. Only potable water shall be used in the manufacture of ice. So potable water means it is safe to drink. Another type of water that is not potable shall not be used in manufacturing ice. Another is in storing and transporting ice intended for public consumption. Precautionary measures shall be taken to protect the ice from sources of contamination. So it should be stored properly and transport it properly without having or get some sources of contamination. Another is the ambulant food vendors. So these vendors shall sell only bottled food, drinks, biscuits, and confectionaries. It is prohibited for them, food vendors, to sell food that requires the use of utensils. So since they are food vendors, they can be seen on the street. So they should be always pack their foods and do not produce utensils, because mainly in the streets there are this dust which will be inhaled or be mixed with the foods, and that is not safe. That is not, or should we say, it is unsanitary. For the oyster beds, oysters shall be planted and grown only in areas approved by the Secretary of his duly authorized representatives and places duly licensed by the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources. So it should be licensed by the BFAR, or the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, in growing oyster beds. Excuse me. Another is oysters offered for sale, if not originating from approved area, shall be confiscated and destroyed by the health authority. So the local health authority has the privilege to confiscate if there will be problems with regards to planting and growing oyster beds, since The objective of this presidential decree number or this code is to improve the health services or health issues of the Filipinos. Another is for the fish marketing areas. Only fresh and wholesome fish products shall be sold. Fish caught in radioactive zones as well as in areas contaminated by toxic substances or high in mercury count as determined by the health authorities shall be condemned and not be allowed for public consumption. So they would not allow vendors of fish to sell their fish knowing that these fishes have toxic substances and that toxic substances can cause health issues or contamination, food contamination outbreak for the consumers. The selling, distribution, and buying of fish caught through the use of explosive and chemicals are prohibited. So strictly, the fish should not be caught through use of explosive because that will damage even the tiny ones, and that will also give not clean surroundings of that area. For the section 33 of this code, responsibility of the local health authority is the local health authority shall a. Make period inspections to enforce the maintenance and adequate sanitation in food establishment and their premises. So, inspection. The local health authority must survey or inspect every establishments and their premises in order to or observe how they maintain sanitary within the place. Another is take samples of food and drink from any establishments or vendor as often as necessary to determine if they are unwholesome, adulterated, or contaminated by radioactivity. C. Prevent the sale or condemn and destroy food and drinks if these are found unfit for human consumption. So they have the responsibility and authorization to condemn, to stop, prevent vendors from selling foods if they are found not good and unclean products that they are selling. Letter D. Seal and prohibit the use of devices, utensils, containers, vehicles, machines, piping, and appurtenances if in his opinion they are unsanitary. So if it is unsanitary, local health authority has its power to confiscate. Another is to stop or prohibit those who are not following the Presidential Decree number 856. Last is enforce the provision of this chapter in the rules and regulation promulgated by the Secretary. So it is a must to follow, and because this will benefit not for the authorities but for us.